He's a character in the Grand Budapest Hotel who he's kind of like what Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive is to Harrison Ford. He's chasing the hero, but in his gut he knows that there's something not quite right about the story. He's almost like the adversary who's really on the side of the character he's chasing. He's kind of a he's a policeman, but he's from the old guard of the aristocratic elite. Well, I think what it does is set it outside of the restrictions of, like, you know, you notice like nobody in the film has accents of the time or the place, and in part, I think, there's a humorous tweak to it, but in part also that's, I think, Wes's way of saying, look, the old remnants of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, it was a melange of lots of different sorts of people, but rather than deal with it literally, we're going to deal with it figuratively and let people just be their own unique selves in it. Yeah, it's more evocative than it is literal. No, I think all that stuff's fun and fine. Actually, in some ways, the way Wes writes lends itself to a more formal or, kind of speech, and it's actually interesting. It's interesting to try to wrap just sort of your modern vernacular around the formality of the way Wes writes. It takes some getting used to. Lubitsch is one of the gods, and he is one of the ones Wes, without a doubt, was, the Budapest of Shop Around the Corner, or, films that aren't Lubitsch, but things like, the original To Be or Not to Be, or Grand Hotel, and he had a lot of reference points. There's a great one that we watched. It was not a Billy Wilder film, a William Wyler film that was written by Preston Sturges called The Good Fairy. That also sort of takes place in like a Hollywood version of Budapest, that I loved, that I had actually never seen. So yeah, I think all those are reference points. Wes creates a very appealing feeling of a repertory company. He doesn't treat films. He doesn't treat films as such a. Somehow he brings people together in a sort of more of a sense of community than you often get. It feels more like theater, and I think he sort of. I think he manages to sort of tweak that part of every actor that romanticizes things like the group theater or Orson Welles and the Mercury Players. That idea of people who work together in a recurring way, playing different roles, and it's fun. He makes it fun. You're all there together, and some people were working some days and some were working other days. Tilda, I think, was almost done by the time I got there, but we got to do a little bit more on Moonrise Kingdom, but you end up you sort of end up spending time together when you do things like the Berlin Festival or the Cannes Festival, and everybody kind of comes together, and that's it's almost in the aftermath you get more time together. Well, but you do on the whole. I mean, we were all, the way Wes ends up bringing everybody together, and you kind of, some days you work, some days you don't, and everybody's kind of hanging around in the town or in the hotel, or so actually I think people tend to bond on, as a cast on Wes's films. Everybody eats dinner together every night, so it's actually kind of more of a bonding experience on his films than most. I think that the only place that I've been that actually was one of those hotels, which I think the exterior of the Grand Budapest Hotel model in this is slightly evocative of, is there's a hotel right in that area in northern Czechoslovakia, used to be, Bavaria, Bohemia, whatever, that is called the Grand Hotel Pupp, P-U-P-P. It's in Karlovy Vary, which used to be, at different times I think the German spa town called Carlsbad. But it looks exactly like this and sort of feels like it. And yeah, I had a nice stay there once when we took a film to that festival.